There's an old Chinese proverb that goes, "A house divided against itself cannot stand." And Chinese President Xi Jinping is going to need all the support he can get if his signature foreign policy project is going to succeed. Nearly 70 countries are involved in what's known as the One Belt, One Road initiative, a massive infrastructure project worth almost $1 trillion. 70 countries, 70 voices. Perhaps even too big of a family for the world's most populous country.
In a world of growth and interdependence, no country can tackle the challenges or solve the world's problems on its own. Individual countries need to coordinate economic policies and make good use of economic factors and develop resources on a greater global scale.
The new family China is looking for is with the untapped and emerging economies of Asia and Africa. Up until now, they've not benefited from China's economic boom. But there are many questions about reviving the ancient Silk Road with the modern One Belt, One Road initiative.
The success of the project depends on removing obstacles and encouraging investment, especially the removal of tariff and non-tariff barriers to trade.
But at a time when Donald Trump has campaigned on isolationist policies and vowed to make America great again, the $900 billion question on the table is, can the One Belt, One Road project make China great again? Alican Ayanlar, TRT World, Beijing.
And joining me now via Skype from Miami is our editor-at-large, Craig Copetas. Great to see you again. So interesting point that Alican made at the end of his package there, that Xi Jinping looking to make China great again. How is all of this going down in America where you are?
Well, shock, horror, but we have to be at the table is what's coming out of Washington. Let's not forget that the United States has invested anywhere from $4 to $6 trillion already in that region fighting wars. In Afghanistan alone, there's approximately $2 billion of U.S. money in power lines, hydropower, railroads, highways, truck roads, just the kind of stuff that the Silk Road project is supposed to build. So America needs a seat at this table. It has a seat at this table, but it's nervous that China's in charge, and it's also very nervous that North Korea is also sitting at that table.
Yeah, now, as we've said, I mean, China has basically decided that its future is based on expanding trade for itself. There has been this backlash against globalization in its original form, but China seems to be doubling down on this very model. Are they setting themselves up for failure?
Well, listen, they have about a decade of experience in Africa, which was their test run when the Chinese government went into, to invest in minerals, build roads, et cetera, et cetera. And the jury's still out on whether that worked. There's just one example down in Botswana. The Chinese built a coal-fired energy plant for the people down there, and the plant blew up. And now, as part of this deal, the Chinese are now building a nuclear power reactor near Karachi, and there's concern that they just don't know how to do it properly. Yeah, the Chinese are going full tilt boogie, as they say, into this, but I find it interesting that it's India that's saying, whoa, let's wait a minute here. What China's doing here is not very transparent. It's a threat to our sovereignty. And because every company and bank in China is owned by the state, maybe some of our firms are going to be locked out of this deal.
Yeah, indeed. I'm glad you brought up the banks, because that is another crucial issue in this. There is a big funding gap, so to speak. Tell us a little bit more about what more still needs to be done in terms of getting that all-important funding to come through.
Well, as you've really put your finger on this, follow the bouncing ball. These host countries that are going to become involved in this are, however you cut it, are going to be struggling to pay back loans for huge infrastructure projects carried out and funded by Chinese state companies and banks. And again, it's the Indians here saying, well, do we really want to be in hock to the Chinese? Right. What are the long-term ramifications of this? Because the Chinese are taking all this money on credit, as you know. But again, China thinks in tranches of 10 to 50 years. The United States thinks quarter by quarter.
Indeed. Craig Copetas in Miami. It's a shame we're running out of time. Thank you ever so much.